Welcome to my channel. My name is Rhea and today we are going to talk about this week's astrology. So 3 very important events are happening this week. We have a new moon in Gemini on Monday. On Friday, June 3rd, Mercury goes direct, and on the weekend, Saturn goes retrograde. So we'll talk about all these things, and let's start with the new moon in the sign of Gemini. So the chart is open to the new moon day, and this new moon is happening at 9 degrees of Gemini. And I have made a video on this new moon, so if you want to know the detailed energy for this new moon, you can watch that. I'll link it in the description box below. But really quick, for the sake of this video, this new moon is in the sign of Gemini, highlighting themes of communication, of short distance travel, of our thinking, of information, right? And it's at 9 degrees of Gemini. So if you want to know where this energy is impacting you and you are familiar with your charts, look for 9 degrees of Gemini. Wherever 9 degrees of Gemini falls in, whichever house, that's where this energy will come in for you. Now, this new moon is in a sextile with the Mars-Jupiter conjunction, a positive energy. And the Mars-Jupiter conjunction is an energy that is all about taking action and making things happen and moving forward, because it is in the sign of Aries. Aries is a very go-getting energy. It's about starting things. It's about doing things. It's about doing things that might have scared you before, right? So it's a great time to start something, to get to that project that you might be too scared to start. But Mercury is retrograde, so maybe wait till the end of the week to go to start it fully, but you can always work on the back end. Coming back to this Aries energy, Aries is the beginning of the zodiac, and on May 10th, Jupiter entered Aries. On May 24th, Mars entered Aries, which means a lot of beginning, right? A lot of energy about beginning things. And in the sextile with this new moon is infused with that Aryan energy of being able to do things and take action and make things happen. This new moon is also conjunct a fixed star called Aldebaran. You can see this on the chart. Now, this fixed star is known as the star of illumination. So information might be revealed on this new moon, right? Star of illumination. Something might be illuminated on this new moon as well. Now, this fixed star is also a very Mars-like energy, right? A lot to do with success, a lot to do with ambition. So we have that in abundance on this new moon, simply because the fixed star is also that energy of doing things and ambition and success, right? And this new moon is in a sextile with Mars and Jupiter. So a lot of that energy on this new moon about taking action, making things happen, and going after what you want. But with this fixed star, it's best to do things the right way, right? That's important when it comes to this star, not doing things in a way that you might regret in the long run, or that might, come back in a way that might not be good for you. So that's the first thing about this new moon. The next thing about this new moon is that Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, where we have the new moon, is retrograde, right? So a lot of review going on, and it's not just retrograde, it's retrograde at 26 degrees of Taurus, very close to the eclipse spot, right? The eclipse, the full moon lunar eclipse, happened at 25 degrees of Scorpio. The moon was at 25 degrees and the sun was at 25 degrees of Taurus. And Mercury right here is very close to that spot, which means in a way it's activating that eclipse energy, right? Eclipses are generally emotional, right? They're emotionally charged points. On an eclipse, we work from a place of emotion rather than intellect. So what Mercury is doing is that it is asking us to review the energy of the full moon lunar eclipse that happened on May 15th or 16th, depending on your location, from an intellectual perspective. Now, that lunar eclipse was about letting go. It was about endings. It was about releasing things. It was in the sign of Scorpio next to the South Node. So these themes were very, very highlighted, and that eclipse was in a square to Saturn 90-degree angle, right? Which means a certain sort of decision, a certain sort of streamlining for the long run was required on that eclipse. But on that eclipse, right, we worked from a place of emotion. Mercury was retrograde on the eclipse as well. So a lot of emotion was there. And now Mercury in that spot is not only bringing back the energy of the eclipse in a certain way, but now we are looking at that emotional letting go, emotional decision, emotional event from an intellectual, logical, rational perspective. Now Mercury here is in a square to Saturn as the eclipse was, which means that the decision, the streamlining that we started with the eclipse is still on, more intellectual, more rational now than emotional. Also, Mercury is conjunct the fixed star Algol. You can see this on the chart. Now, Algol is not a very nice energy, let's just put it that way. It's known as the demon star. It's the most evil star out there, right? And Mercury on Algol is not the best thing, I'll be honest, but Algol is also associated with overcoming things, right? It's associated with rising up to the occasion, overcoming challenges. So perhaps what this energy can mean for us is that we might need to overcome some challenge. We might need to overcome some roadblocks, right? In order to move forward, in order to release and let go. Full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio now from a mental perspective, and Mercury is a logical mind. Perhaps what we need to overcome is something mental. That's a possibility as well. So that's happening, and let's see if I missed out on anything. I have broken these energies down in detail in my new moon video. That's why I'm kind of rushing through this. So that's the new moon in a nutshell. And Mercury here is in Taurus, right? And Taurus is extremely highlighted. It has been for a month, especially because we had the eclipses on the Taurus-Scorpio axis. But since the beginning of the year, because the North Node changed signs in Jan and entered the sign of Taurus, magnifying it. The North Node is not just the future, it's also a magnifier. It's magnifying Taurus. Uranus is in Taurus, Venus is in Taurus this week. And we also have Mercury in Taurus, a lot of energy in Taurus. And Taurus is to do with stability. It's to do with security. It's to do with feeling secure and stable. It's to do with our resources, our raw materials, food. It's to do with currency and economy. It's to do with finances and wealth. So all these themes are highlighted, have been since Jan of this year, have been since Uranus entered Taurus back in 2018 and 2019. But for the past month, more highlighted because of the eclipse, because of the fact that Mercury is there and now Venus is also there, right? So Taurus continues to be highlighted this week as well. And now if you look at the chart, right, we have Mercury, we have the North Node, we have Uranus, we have Venus, a lot of Taurus and a lot of Aries, Mars, Jupiter, Chiron. Beginning of the year, it was Capricorn, Aquarius, then Pisces, and now it's Aries and Taurus. So all these themes are highlighted, but Aries is also extremely magnified with Jupiter there. Aries is that energy of starting a new cycle, starting new things, right? It's the beginning point of the zodiac. So that is there as well, along with these Taurian themes that I just mentioned. Coming back to the new moon, on the new moon, Mercury here is next to the North Node, which is next to Uranus, and the North Node is at the midpoint of Mercury and Uranus. And what all this means is that we might receive insights, we might receive epiphanies and downloads on this new moon that might help us overcome that mental block. So to sum up the new moon, I would say you can watch my new moon video that has it more in detail. But to sum up the new moon, this is a new energy related to communication, short distance travel, our immediate environment, perhaps our thinking on a general level. Look for 9 degrees of Gemini. That's where this energy will come in for you. The fact that this is on Aldebaran means a lot of energy to go forward, move forward, get things done. The aspect to Mars and Jupiter means the same thing as well, but we must do things the right way. Now, Mercury on Algol is not the best energy, and the way to handle this energy is to say that I'm going to rise up to the challenge and do what it takes to move forward. Also, this new moon is bringing back the energy of that eclipse more from an intellectual point of view. The decision and streamlining process is on, and the Taurian themes are extremely highlighted still. So the next important thing is that Mercury this week is going to go direct. Mercury has been retrograde since 10th of May, and when Mercury is retrograde, communication does tend to slow down. Gadgets can malfunction. It's not the best time to start something brand new, communication related, social media related. It's a great time for reviewing these things, right? So Mercury has been retrograde, and usually when Mercury is retrograde, there's a certain feeling of slowness that comes in. And the fact that we have so much Aries right now, Mars and Jupiter, and the fact that Jupiter entered Aries on 10th May and Mercury went retrograde the same day, there's been this feeling of a lot of energy to move forward and make things happen, but at the same time, this feeling of being held back a little bit. But with Mercury going direct on Friday, that feeling of being held back will kind of go away, right? And then the forward movement with Mercury related things, communication, social media, marketing, will start again. So that's Mercury going out of retrograde. And on Saturday, this is the third thing I wanted to talk about, we have Saturn going retrograde. Now, Saturn will retrograde between 18 and 25 degrees of Aquarius, right? And what that means is that whatever we've done between 18 and 25 degrees of Aquarius will come back up for review during its retrograde, and Saturn will be retrograde till the end of October almost, so a good few months. And Saturn was at 18 degrees between 15th and 20th Feb. So from then, whatever hard work we've put in, whatever decisions we might have made, whatever Saturn related work we've done, and if you know your chart, look for wherever Saturn is transiting, whichever house, themes associated with that house will come up for review with Saturn retrograde. So we will begin to review these decisions, the hard work, the streamlining process that we've been doing since Feb between 15th and 20th. Up until October, and then we will work on these things again as Saturn moves through these degrees for the third and final time after October. Now, Saturn is the planet of hard work. Saturn is the planet of decisions. It's the planet of karma as well. So when it is direct, right, which it has been since October of 2021, there's this pressure, you can say, to work hard, right? There's this pressure to move forward. There's this pressure to decide. But when Saturn goes retrograde, the pressure sort of eases off, right? Because that forward movement, that direct motion of hard work to make things happen kind of eases off. And retrogrades are also a period where we receive the fruits of our labor. So whatever work we've done since October, right, now is the time when Saturn goes retrograde that we will receive the fruits of our labor, so to speak. So that's Saturn going retrograde, and I believe this is June 4th. For some places, this might be June 5th. So say the weekend, Saturn's going to go retrograde. And I think these are the three important events for this week. Again, I do want to stress on the fact that we have a lot of Taurus right now. We have a lot of Aries right now. Taurus is our self-worth, it's finances, it's security, it's stability, it's our skills, it's our values, it's currency, it's economy, it's food resources, it's raw materials. So all these things are extremely highlighted, and Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. Aries is about starting things. So these are the two energies where we have pretty much everything, you can say. Look at the chart, right? Look at how concentrated the energy is still. So much Taurus, so much Aries, and now the Sun and the Moon are in Gemini. So slowly moving on, but still a lot of concentration of energy. And Venus here, you can see this, entered the sign of Taurus on 28th May, Saturday, right? The Saturday before this Monday. Yeah, and Venus rules the sign of Taurus, so it works really well there. And usually Venus in Taurus, I would say, is associated with our relationships, our finances being more stable. But this time around, Venus in Taurus is going to conjunct Uranus, it is going to conjunct the North Node, and it is going to go over the eclipse spots, right? So what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to our projects, our finances, our self-worth, values, skills, our relationships, right? This is the month when Venus will move through the sign of Taurus, that we can receive a lot of changes, you can say. We can receive certain insights, right? Going over the eclipse spot, certain events associated with the eclipse and Venus might come up. So it's going to be an eventful transit of Venus through Taurus, more about change, Uranus, more about insights when it comes to relationships and projects, Uranus, more about karmic stuff associated with our relationships, projects, and finances, right? The North Node is karmic, the eclipse spots are karmic. So a lot of karmic stuff associated to Venus about to come up with Venus's transit through Taurus. Also, insights, sudden changes to Venus might happen because it is going to meet up with Uranus here. And let me see if I have spoken about everything that I wanted to. Yeah, and I think I have. So I hope you enjoyed this video. A lot of energy shifting this week because we do have a new moon bringing in new energy at the beginning of the week. Mercury will go direct. That slowness that we might have been feeling will ease off, but Saturn going retrograde brings a certain degree of slowness, but more importantly, the pressure of hard work eases off, and it becomes a time where we reap the rewards for the work done, right? Fruits of our labor come in during retrograde. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and now I will see you next week. Have a great day.